How was practice today, Coach?
Practice today was good. It was better than last Thursday. Last week we had a good start to the week and not a very good finish, and that was kind of how we played, kind of inconsistently. And so I think the message was received and responded to in the right way, just as far as guys coming out and take care of business this week. Now we have to finish it. We have to have a great day tomorrow. Last week was a really bad Friday, and so hopefully we've learned that tough lesson.
What have you seen from looking at Colorado?
Well, they're a much improved team. Certainly offensively, they've been really good the last couple of years on defense, and their special teams is much improved. Offense is much improved, and they've got a very confident team, even coming off the loss, just being ahead at Michigan and all those things. And so it's a much different group. But that being said, we are totally focused on us.
How do you prepare for a team where you don't specifically know who the quarterback is going to be?
You prepare for their offense, and the backup has played a lot. In their first two games were blowouts, and so he got a lot of time in those games, and he played well at Michigan too. I mean, he didn't have great numbers, but one of his first passes was a dime that was dropped for a touchdown, and so it's their offense. It's not their skill set isn't that different in terms of what they try to do with him.
Are practices usually before conference play typically better?
Well, hopefully every week they're a little bit better, regardless of who you're playing. I think we've been better this week. Hopefully, just a little pride kicked in, of being disappointed in whatever their perceived role was in not getting done last week, and hopefully that's a good response.
Coach, after turning the page this week, is there a particular area that you've seen much improved or most improved?
I think the best sign is we've been vocal. A lot of times after a loss, guys tend to go internal and try to live in a phone booth and not communicate and not talk. And we've tried to go out of our way to make that happen, and it's happened. And so that's a good sign.
And on that note, can you talk a little bit about how the team's mentality has been?
We've had good energy. We had a very physical practice yesterday, more so than a typical Wednesday, just again trying to ratchet up our urgency, and I thought the guys responded very well. Had our most physical collisions, change of directions, bursts, all those kind of things that we've had all year.
Brady was saying that you guys have, I don't know if crackdown is the right word, but really tried to get after the guys a lot about penalties and the lapses, the personal fouls and that after last week. Brady was also saying you just harp on the fundamentals, the simple things and the little things. What exactly are you saying to them? What exactly are you just trying to reinforce to them?
Well, yeah, you're always talking. Fundamentals are something that you talk about literally daily, and reinforcing those things. And sometimes it's fundamentals that lead to being out of position to get whatever pass interference or a hold. Sometimes it's selfishness, which is those are the penalties that we had way too many of last week, and so we paid for it as a team on Saturday, and we paid for it as a team on Monday.
I was going to say Monday. Some of the players that said Monday you had them running and things. What do you do, kind of punishment-wise, or what kind of went on Monday to address that?
Well, everybody was involved, coaches and players, and it was a little just group accountability. We were accountable to each other in every way, and so we got that handled.
You all were running?
What's that?
You all were running?
We weren't running, but we were doing some physical fun. Yeah. Coach Grant would still nice tell us.
How do you address a lot of penalty stuff? Can be heat of the game stuff, where you can't address pass interference. You can't exactly simulate what the other team's going to do. How do you address it in practice with your guys to prepare them as best you can?
Well, yeah, I think it was just asked kind of similarly. The selfish play, the personal foul for getting getting beat and trying to react. That can never happen. It's just like if you're standing on the street and some guy pops off to you, you can't hit him. Just all those kind of immediate reactions that can't happen. And so as soon as it goes from team to selfish, that's where we absolutely draw the line. And as far as the fundamental part of it, absolutely, if we're playing goal line one-on-one or doing something, and a guy gets beat inside, just fundamentally that sets you up to be in position to get pass interference. We're having some new hopefully punitive things that will not happen again. But the other day in practice, the same guy happened 3 times, and so he did he did a lot of extra work. Yeah, it was good.
Brady Hoke was pleased 4 days of practice on the defensive side. What have you seen out of your group from how they responded to Saturday?
Yeah, it's been a good response to this point. Last week we had a really bad Friday practice, and just lapses of concentration, substitution, whatever communication, all the things that reared their heads in the game. And so that's what we're talking about right now, is just challenging them to finish the week. And then you go into the game with confidence. And they should, but they need to deserve it by what they do tomorrow.
How much, with constant shuffling of guys being available for different reasons, kind of stunt the growth of your defense?
Of the defense?
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who's in there on offense, defense, or special teams. They have to play great. And those guys prepare together all the time. And that's, again, another stumbling block of young guys, is they tend to, again, kind of be quiet and go internal and try to just survive in a phone booth. And, that's the worst thing that you can do. And so we try to make that happen.
Super lighthearted question, but what do you think of the uniforms?
It's the greatest mascot in all of college sports. How could you not love it?
Extra pressure with the orange in the
Guys,
uniform?
I think they're talking about going deer hunting later with the
How was Dakota responding this week after last week?
He's had a good week of practice. He did a really good job today. The coaches weren't allowed to talk on the offensive side of the ball today, and he was one of the guys that did a great job of kind of getting things going. And so, yeah, just have to put it together tomorrow and play through Saturday.
Is that throughout the whole live practice that they're not?
I'm sorry?
Is that throughout the whole live practice that the coaches aren't talking, or is it like when they come back to the sidelines?
Well,
Interact with you guys?
today is kind of a teach tempo thing for us. Teach tempo is essentially a walk. It's like a hyperspeed walkthrough, and a lot of the time the coaches are constantly, it's the nature of the coach to go, okay, no, it's a 45-degree angle step, it's this, it's that, it's whatever, and that doesn't happen in the game. And so we're trying to make them do it now, and just reinforce the need to do that more. And they did a good job of that.
When your opponent, their quarterback situation, maybe you're not quite sure who's going to be back there, how do you prep for that?
You just prep for the offense. We have a lot of film of both guys, and they've both done very good things. We came in last week and threw a great ball down the sideline in the end zone, hit the guy right in the hands, and he dropped it. And just a play like that puts it, from his just a mental standpoint. But they've both played well. They have a lot of confidence in these guys.
Yesterday, Coach Lee would say Colorado is maybe one of the most improved teams in the country. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think offensively and special teams, they're a lot different and have been a lot more productive. Part of that is just scheduling, and get a lot of confidence after that second game in every phase. And their special teams are different, but they're playing kind of a little simpler, a little faster on special teams. And then defensively, they've been really good for the last several years.
Do you feel like the 2-point conversion's been coached up a little more this week to where guys are all on the same page?
Well, it's coached. I would say it's coached up just like it's been coached up for every week for the last several years. Yeah, like anything, if there's a nuance or something that we can do as coaches or personnel or whatever, we'll do that.
How much was Coach Yost on your radar before that week?
How much was he on my radar? I don't know how to answer that question.
How much did you know of him?
knew of him just kind of through recruiting and coaching circles. Obviously the hair has always been a point of jealousy. But no, he's a really smart guy, really good guy, very good coach, very good recruiter, and just a guy that was kind of well respected and well liked by everybody.
How does it help you guys, you think, to have a specific quarterbacks coach as opposed to stuff last week and quarterbacks responsibilities? Do you think that's helped you guys in preparation?
I mean, hopefully, we're doing a good job, whatever the job titles are, all over the place. I think he's absolutely a proven, developer of a lot of different, really, really good quarterbacks that were different guys. Some bigger guys, some smaller guys. But he's an excellent coach.
Orange is a color a lot of people don't like to see around here. Is that a little different seeing it out there?
He's going to come in and ask every question that you guys already asked.
I'm a one-man band. I'm sorry.
It's impressive. We're going to go deer hunting here post game with socks and the cleats in the mountains.
Is there a point though where it becomes too much? Like, I know the recruits and the players like it, but have you ever gotten to the point like it's?
Have we ever gotten complaints? No, never, never.
Mark, do you see a correlation between how they practice on Friday, you mentioned it, and how they, I know this week they lost, but in the past, was there a correlation?
Well, that's one of those things you always have to play around with as a coach. Whatever the situation is, you're going to make the best of it type deal. And I think particularly with a younger team, it's all about confidence. Whether it's, you're talking about guys playing together or just being used to being in the spotlight, communicating that, all the things that go into it. Being confident is a result of what you've done. It's what you've demonstrated you can do in front of your teammates, in front of a crowd. And when you're unsure, that also shows up. And so, I think parts of that you can overcome just by needing time and all the things that we'll do from now until kickoff. But absolutely, what we do on the practice field shows up on the game field 99.99% of the time.
I think we're on the gamut of questions. Thanks.